Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's BU Professional Development webinar, Motivating Your Next Move from Just a Job to a Career You'll Love. My name is Jeff Murphy. I work on the Career Programs team in the Office of Alumni Relations. Today's webinar is sponsored by BU Alumni Relations and is offered to our 339,000 alumni around the globe. BU is committed to helping you define and achieve your professional goals, and we aim to do this by providing alumni with access to a series of valuable online tools and social media communities. I know that we have alumni joining us today from around the world, some very far away places like Shanghai. Oops, excuse me. That's going to continue to happen. Indonesia, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Taiwan, Berkeley, California, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Wichita, Baltimore, the Bronx, Myrtle Beach, Knoxville, and as always, dozens of Massachusetts alumni from towns like Wakefield, Waltham, Watertown, Wayland, Wellesley, Westford, Woburn, Worcester, and more. For each and every one of you out there, thanks for joining us, and please know that we really do value your participation in this program and everything that we do. Before I introduce today's speaker, some brief housekeeping notes. As you know by now, this webinar is being hosted on our Zoom online meeting platform. If you experience any trouble with the audio or visual portions of today's presentation, I'll ask that you contact Zoom directly at the number that you see on the sort of bottom of your screen there. Contact Zoom support at 1-888-799-9666. Today's presentation is being recorded and will soon be made available for on-demand viewing on the Alumni Association website found at www.bu.edu/alumni. We're also going to send you an email to follow up, which will include a link to view the recording of today's presentation. Our speaker today is very eager to answer any questions you may have, and you're welcome to submit them throughout the presentation using the Q&A function. You're going to want to use your cursor on your computer or your tablet, I guess, to hover over the screen. You'll see a menu pop up. You're going to select Q&A and then just go ahead and type in your question and submit it. We will have some time at the end to make sure that we get through all the questions that you may have. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for the day, BU Wheelock College of Education and Human Development alumna, Kim Bilawchuk. Kim is a valuable volunteer for us, has done a number of other presentations. You'll see some of her webinars in our online, on-demand library. We're very lucky to have Kim. Kim is committed to helping getting young professionals unstuck and finding the career of their dreams. If you're looking for a proven professional who can help you identify what you're good at and what interests you, mindfully create a plan to get where you want to be and help you develop the skills and tools you need to achieve your success, you've come to the right place and to the right webinar. With more than 20 years of corporate and academic counseling experience, working with amazing clients with similar worries and concerns, and guiding them to achieve remarkable success, Kim's mission is to help everyone find their dream careers. Kim has an MBA from Boston College, that's school down the road, but a Master of Counseling from BU, and also got a bachelor's degree from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. She's also a registered yoga teacher and does some really interesting things around yoga and mindfulness. I encourage you to learn more about Kim by visiting her website, which is www.kbcareercoach.com. Kim, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get my slides off the screen here if you want to open yours. And while you're doing that, I want to remind all of our guests, we sent a reminder email this morning in Boston, couple hours ago, depending on where you live around the world. There's a link in there to a worksheet, to download a worksheet that Kim is going to be referencing through this presentation. So if you haven't already, you might want to quickly jump back to your email to find that email you got from me in Boston University this morning to download that worksheet. Kim, the slides look great on my end, so at this point, the floor is all yours.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. I really appreciate the opportunity to be back and presenting for the BU alumni. So like Jeff said, we're talking about motivating your next move from just a job to a career you love. Something that I've done many times during my career, had just a job, and now in a career that I love. So hope to share some of that with you today. Jeff went through this, so here's a quick again who I am. I'm a career alignment coach. Basically means that I help you find a career in alignment with who you are here meant to be while you're here. Aligning your skills, your interests, your values, your ideal work environment with the types of things that really resonate with who you are internally. I also teach yoga to adults. I've taught to kids and teens as well, and help people really mindfully move through that process. So not just, yeah, sure, I can take this job, but why are you doing this, and how, and what does that mean for you? So we'll talk more about that during the course of our presentation this morning. Like I said, counseling from Boston University. So today we're going to talk about where you are now, quickly, just as a reference point and sort of an anchor for our conversation. I'll help you envision the future that you want to live and why you want it. And the what and the why are the two most important things. The how and the how and the where are less important. We'll talk more about that in a minute. I'll give you some tips to help you gain the confidence you need to get motivated to land where you should be. And I have a special offer toward the end of our program today. So before we get started, I wanted to take an opportunity to invite you to just be here. So I know here in the East Coast, it's lunchtime. You may have lunch in front of you, or you're thinking about where you are going for lunch afterwards, but I'd like you to give yourself the permission and the gift of being truly here during this time. You've made this commitment already to log in, and I'd like you to be present as best you can. So if it's comfortable for you, I know you're in lots of different places, to close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose if you're able. Open your mouth, side out. Again, deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Keeping your eyes closed, begin to feel your feet on the ground, maybe your seat on your seat. Notice any sounds you hear around you. Allow them not to be distractions, but just background noise for you right now. See what you're seeing, whether it's the screen or the inside of your eyelids. Taste what you're tasting. Maybe you are eating right now, I don't know. Just notice whatever tastes or non-tastes are in your mouth. And finally, any sense that you might smell in your space. Maybe your lunch that's ready to be eaten. Let's layer all those pieces together. So feeling what you feel, hearing what you hear, seeing what you see, tasting what you taste, and smelling what you smell. Take one more deep breath in. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Blink your eyes open and come back to the space. Just a quick, short mindfulness piece that allows you to be focused and present, and something that you can use anywhere you are during the course of your day or week, just to be set aside. We spend so much time doing, but we're actually human beings. So if we can just slow down a little bit, it helps us focus, it gives us more clarity, more creativity, it improves our immune system, so many benefits of slowing down. What I'd like you to do on the sheet that you have in front of you, whether it's the handout that I sent you or just a piece of paper with a pen, write down 3 things that you're grateful for right now. It could be anything. It could be the lunch that's sitting in front of you. It could be your favorite pants were clean today. It might be that it's sunny outside. Your dog is curled at your feet. Doesn't have to be a big deal. While you're doing that, the rationale behind this is that it shifts our perspective. And there's lots of research that shows that having a gratitude practice here in the United States, where most of us will celebrate Thanksgiving later this month, but being grateful and noticing what we're grateful for, it literally changes the brain chemistry in our heads to allow us to be more receptive, to be more positive, to be happier. All good things, right? So if you can make this a regular practice. Many of you saw my presentation last year on happiness. I know Jeff said it was online still. Take a look at that. We've got a whole piece around that too. All right, so let's dive in. Where are you now? So Jeff, I'm gonna ask you to launch the poll here on your career happiness, ranking here from number 1, where I love my job, to number 5, where I strongly dislike my job. I'm going to guess initially that most of you are probably toward the 3, 4, 5 stage of the game, or you wouldn't be here. We tend to move from a point of pain than a point of pleasure. So if you love your job, you're probably not looking for something that's better. But my guess is that you are probably not loving your job, and that's why you've carved out this time for you today.
We've got about 60% of our guests have weighed in. So let's give it just one more second.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil the results, but I would love to see somebody come in at a number 1. But that might be why
No pressure.
people are on this webinar today. So just a couple other seconds here for those last folks who are having trouble deciding between 2s and 3s.
Yeah, and that's okay, right? There's no judgment here. We don't know who you are, who's voting for what. So
it's completely anonymous.
Really,
all right, let's go ahead and take a look.
Okay, thanks.
You see those on your screen now, Kim?
All right, we got a lot of middle of the roaders, right? It's
Yeah.
okay, but I could take it or leave it. It's pretty good most days. Comes in around 11%. The middle at 50, almost 50%. I only go because I have to is another third of you, and then some of you at the bottom here, I strongly dislike my job. Jeff, sorry, there's no number 1s here. Nobody loves their job today.
I think that's okay, but I'm also feeling for the folks who came in at a 5. That's no fun for anybody.
Yeah. So, all right, so let's give you some tips so that you can get going here. So, quote here from Abraham Hicks, law of attraction expert. If you're not excited about it, it's not the right path. I may be preaching to the choir here, right? But if you're not excited about what you're getting up and doing every day, then let's help you figure out, get somewhere that you are, because you have lots of gifts here to share, and we'll talk about how to figure those out in a minute. Maybe you already know. So I put this together as a sort of an overall picture of what your life looks like. And these are 8 key areas of your life. And you can see the highlighted piece here is your profession, your career, maybe the business that you run, the job that you have. And you can see that this is just one of the 8 pieces that I have listed. But imagine how this has an impact on all of the other pieces of your life, right? So let's say that you are not loving your job, or it's just sort of okay. Maybe that translates into, you know what, I'm not really taking care of my body or my health. Maybe I'm not making as much money as I think I could or should. Maybe I don't spend enough time with my friends or family, or even have a significant other, which I would really like to have. Maybe you're not living in the place that's suitable for you. You're living in just an okay apartment or location or city. Maybe you're not making time for fun or having any time for your own personal growth or spirituality. So you can see how just one of these pieces starts to pull the rest of them down. So on the top of your handout, and if you don't have that here, I've given you a chart to think about where you are now and where you'd ideally like to be. So I'm going to give you, I'll talk through this as I give you a minute to sort of jot those down. And obviously it's the gap that we're taking a look at here. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and I realize I probably flipped this from the opposite piece, right? So I'm going to make 10 being the best now. Rate your health, body, fitness. Are you working out? Are you eating well? Are you making time for you to move? Where's your profession, career, business? Where are you on the money scale? Interesting side note here, we always think we need more money, but at a certain point, more money doesn't make us happier. It's a lot lower than you think it might be. Friends and family, who are the people that you're spending the most time with? How are your intimate personal relationships, the place you live? What are you doing for fun? If you have to stop and think like, it's been a long time since I've done something fun, right? Whether it's going to a movie or hanging out with friends. And are you spending any time on that personal growth? Are you investing in yourself, for a mindfulness class or a yoga class or education or certificate program? So hopefully you've filled this out, where you are, where you ideally want to be, and the gap. And this is the key here, right? And this is where this gap is stress, where things are not where you think that they should be. So let's talk about so now I've sort of evaluated where you are, and I don't want to leave you in kind of this like, ooh, this isn't really where I want to be. So let's keep moving forward. Where do you want to be? So much research being done around manifesting our dreams and looking forward and really figuring out what we want to do and be. Brene Brown, one of my favorite author, speakers, people. Many of you know her as a social scientist. She's a leading author. She's published lots of books. She has a great new special on Netflix called A Call to Courage, an hour and 15 minutes. I can almost guarantee you'll laugh, you'll cry. It'll be hard to watch and good to watch all at the same time. I've watched it many times myself. But here's a quote from her. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. I'm guessing that some of you on this call, maybe a majority of you, are doing something that you think you should be doing. Something that our parents, maybe your parents suggested that you do. I went to business school because my dad was a banker. You can learn more about that on my video on my website. Maybe the expectations are, well, gee, you've got this great degree from BU. Why aren't you using it? How can you use it better? So our friends, our family, society, we put those same restrictions on ourselves. But I challenge you to think about whether you are doing something that's authentically resonating with you. I'm going to walk you through another visualization here. So I invite you to close your eyes, and if that's not comfortable for you, just allow your eyes to focus down on something else, or not focus, kind of just allow your gaze to relax a little bit. Feel your feet on the floor, your seat on your seat, whatever's around you. And take one more deep, full breath in. And exhale, let it go. They say that people are born with a life purpose. Some people never look for their life purpose, so it remains unspoken for their whole lives. But it's there. The life purpose is the reason that we're here on this planet. It's the thing that we are meant to accomplish, the gift we're meant to bring. Life purpose is not simply about a job or even an avocation, although that could be some part of it. It's the round-the-clock, 24-hour, every day of your life expression of who you are when you're reaching your full potential. When you're on purpose, you are fulfilled. You're contributing and making a difference in a meaningful way for you. Regardless of what you do or where you are now, you are in exactly the right place. Let go of any preconceived notions or limiting beliefs about what your ability to find your purpose or do your dream job might be. You have all the skills, experience, interests, passion, confidence, and clarity to share that gift with the world. Now, in the center of your chest, allow an excitement to begin to unfold. Anticipation, enthusiasm, intrigue, elation, or even passion. Regardless of what you call it, this feeling begins to grow, spreading through your entire being with a sense of possibility. In this space, everything is possible and attainable. You are a force to be reckoned with. You are calm. You are confident. You are ready for any situation. You know best what will bring you joy. You are exquisitely aware of what your gifts and talents are. You're ready for anything the world throws at you. You are master of your time and energy. You see and think creatively and implement ideas with great efficiency. There are literally millions of opportunities available to you each day, and you are a master of choosing the ones that delight you most. Now, I invite you to allow images and sensations of your ideal workplace to come to mind. Let these images drift to your imagination easily and effortlessly, placing yourself in an ideal scene. Above all, feel all the anticipation, the excitement within yourself of being in exactly the right place. Look around. What do you see? As you grow more comfortable with this space, allow yourself to observe more closely. Where are you? What does your environment look like? Who are you working with? Or are you alone? What are the people around you doing? the workspace large and airy, small and cozy, loud, colorful, busy, quiet? What are you doing? What is your work? When the details begin to come clearer, you can start to imagine your work day. When do you arrive? When do you leave? What's your schedule like? What does work mean? What are you wearing? Do you think big picture, or are you the master of many details? What are your interactions with others like? Do you take breaks? Where do you go? Who are you with? How might you relax after a day or night at this job? Or are you so energized that work feels like play? How do you define success? What brings you joy? What have others complimented you on, ways that you've helped other people? Take a moment and feel what it's like to be in this amazing space. You can go through that same piece we did before, listening, feeling, seeing, perhaps tasting and smelling. You see, even the smallest steps bring you closer to your perfect job, your perfect life. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. You know everything you need to know about creating a job or career you love. You're ready to light the world with your unique gifts, and it's time to share this for everyone's benefit as well as your own. The right opportunity will arrive exactly when it's right. You are enough. Trust yourself and don't postpone joy. With these things in mind, call your imagination back to wherever you began this meditation, wiggling your fingers and toes, feeling the relaxation and peace within your mind. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and bring a smile to your face, feeling alert, calm, full of energy, confidence, and inspiration. On your handout in the second piece here, I have a section that says, my dream job includes. So while this is all fresh in your mind, take a moment and jot down some of the things that you visioned during that quick visualization. Think about the place, the people, the tasks. So from here, I hope that was enlightening for you and allowed you to start to visualize where you might want to be. And we'll talk about the value of that in a few minutes here. But I'd like you to think about the pain questions here. We don't often move from a place of comfort. I said that when we did the poll. We move from a place of pain, some place of discomfort. So to start, what would you miss out on in your life if you don't make the changes you want in your work life? Perhaps you saw that gap really clearly as you started to envision your ideal place and you look at where you're sitting right now. What would it cost you if you're not moving your life in the direction of your long-term vision? And by cost, it could be financial, it could be relationships, it could be retirement plans, it could be joy, health, right? Any of those key factors that we looked at before, growth. How will it hinder you spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically if you don't make that change? And on the bottom of that first page of that sheet, you've got a space here to think about what not making a change is going to cost you. This can be really powerful, right? It's easy to go through the day-to-day, right? To think about, oh, it's okay, it's not great. Once we start to dig in and really examine some of these things, you think, oh, I'm really in the wrong place, right? And some of you said that on the poll. So why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? What can you do to start moving forward? I'll give you some tips on that too as we move forward. So let's flip this because I don't want to leave you in this yucky place, but let's think about this. If you did make a career change, your pleasure questions here, how would you feel about yourself? Think back to that visualization, right, where you started to feel and internalize that excitement. And the feeling of excitement has the same impact on our body as the same physical implications on our body as being stressed out, right, or anxious. But if you just flip it and think of it in a more positive way, then it becomes excitement and not a negative emotion, right? So next time you feel like you're really stressed out, So what if I were really excited about this? My body would feel exactly the same way, but my mind is going to flip that switch. It's pretty cool. What kind of momentum would you be created in your life when you achieve what you desire? Think about all those 8 areas, right? You have a cool job. Now you think, oh, now I've got time to work on my health, right? I have more time for relationships. Maybe I'm making more money so I can move into a better place to live. All of those things start to spiral up rather than spiraling down. How would you feel if you were consistently moving towards living a life that you really love? Isn't that what this is all about? Wouldn't you rather live a life you love than a life that you don't love? It's a no-brainer, right? So these are some of the questions I asked while you were in your visualization. You can click this if you wanted to take a quick photo of this. Where is your job? What are you doing? What is your commute like? Do you even have a commute? My commute is kind of around the corner, right? I'm in my home office right now. Who am I working with? Do I need to travel? Does it pay you well? Does it pay you enough? Right? And this is an interesting piece. And I talk to clients all the time. Well, I'm making all this money, but I'm miserable. Okay, well, what do you really need to make? Maybe you don't need to make that much money. You know, we always think in society that making more is better, but maybe enough is good enough. How are the benefits? What are the benefits? Do you get more vacation time? Do you get to stay home when it snows if you're in a climate that works for? So having clarity around where you're going definitely helps you get there, right? I have people all the time that come to me and say, Kim, I need a new job. I'll do anything. I just hate what I'm doing. Okay, great. Do you want a job washing dishes? Well, no, I don't want that kind of job. Well, you just told me you would do any kind of job. Well, I don't really mean any kind of job. I mean a job within X, Y, or Z. So the more you can focus, and the more other people are going to be able to help you, the more resources and information and connections and all those seemingly random things that come up are going to start to come up. So clarity, a definition of clarity here is the quality of being coherent and intelligible, right? Sometimes we say, and I talked to a potential client this morning and she said, I might want to do this, 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 or this, right? She was all over the map. She had about 4 different things that weren't even related to each other that she brought to the table. Or clarity could be in the quality of being certain or definite, right? She clearly wasn't definite or certain about anything. So when people see that and the world kind of says, well, gee, this person doesn't really know what they want. I don't know how to help them. You're not going to get anywhere. So think about being as clear as you can about what you want it to be. It can change over time as you have more conversations, but start to narrow that focus so that you can be more clear about where you want to go. Great example here. This is my GPS example, and I shared this with Jeff the other day. So imagine you're sitting in your driveway and you plug in the address to come visit me into your GPS. And it calculates and it says it's going to take, I don't know, an hour to get to me. But it doesn't tell you where to go until you start moving. So you could sit in your driveway forever and it doesn't tell you if you should go left or right. It's calculated all the possible ways and already decided the best one, but it's going to wait to see what happens as you start to make that movement. Right? So regardless of whether you come out your driveway and you turn left or right, the GPS has the way of recalculating where you're going to go. Now, maybe it would have been quicker for you to go left than right. That's okay. You're still going to get there. So when I said earlier, I want you to focus on where you want to go and not necessarily how you're going to get there. If you have a really clear vision of what you want, the how is going to start to fall into place. Simply said in a GPS statement, it's going to tell you to turn left or right, straight, stop, turn around, whatever. In terms of your job or your life, as you start to move toward those things, you may find, and one of my other favorite quotes, I should have included this too, is Steve Jobs' quote about connecting the dots, right? You can always look back and see how your dots connect, but looking forward, you're not sure exactly how they're going to connect going forward. But if you know what your ultimate destination is, all the dots that you make, all those connections, all the conversations, all the missed turns are going to help you get closer to where you want to go. I'd love to take credit for this analogy, but it comes from a book called Manifesting Change by Mike Dooley. He's written lots of great books, Infinite Possibilities, a whole bunch more. There's lots of stuff online that you can look at too. But I hope this gives you a sense for just getting into motion, right? Not staying still, but being able to move forward so that you can start to make some of those wrong turns and get ultimately back online. Okay, so now we've talked about where you are. Most of you aren't in the place that you want to be. And then hopefully you've started to envision some of the pieces of the puzzle that are going to be important for you moving forward. Some of the things that are really going to make you tick, the things that you're interested in, the things that you're good at, the things that, your ideal work environment pieces. So how do you start to gain the confidence around that you need in order to move forward? And I'm going to give you some tips here. So at a really basic level here, there are lots of assessments and reflection tools that you can use to help you gain some of that clarity. Personality assessments like the Myers-Briggs, for example. There might be an interest assessment. I use one called Scan with my clients all the time to help them figure out what they're good at and what they like doing. We all have things that we're really good at doing that we're not necessarily interested in doing. I always share the example of my neighbor. I'll start with me. I am really good at doing laundry. I've got 2 school-age kids that play sports. I do laundry all the time. I would not want to be paid to do laundry. I have a neighbor who is really good at doing laundry, but she loves doing laundry and works for a hotel chain doing laundry 40 plus hours a week. Now, if you've ever stayed in a hotel, it's great to have clean sheets and laundry, but that doesn't mean that that's something that I would want to use in my everyday job, right? So start to differentiate the things that you like versus the things that you're good at, and making a discernment there. What skills do you bring to the table? Just because you're working in a job and only using a certain finite number of skills doesn't mean that you don't have other things that you could contribute, whether it's figuring out a travel plan or baking a cake or whatever. All of those pieces are still really critical to know about who you are and what you bring to the table. What are your values? What kinds of organizations make you tick? What are the ones that you would never want to work for, right? I could list different industries like financial services, healthcare, defense contracting, education, nonprofit. Some of you are thinking, yeah, I could totally work for that. And some of you are saying, no way, I would never work for that. So start to think about how your values align with what it is that you ultimately want to do. I often recommend a future letter exercise for my clients to help them start to vision those things that we just talked about during the visualization. So you could easily take a few minutes and jot those down, or maybe over the course of the next week, you say, oh yeah, you know what? I just sat in traffic for 2 hours coming to work. I definitely need to have a better commute when I think about my next job. You could do a vision board too. The vision board is just another visual way for you to start to think about what you want. None of these things individually are going to get you to where you need to be, but they're going to start to give you some clarity around the things that are important to you as you start to move forward. The other piece that's really important is your mindset. So not just the who and the what and the why, but what are you telling yourself? We often tell ourselves our internal dialogue is usually so negative toward ourselves that we would never even consider saying those to somebody else out loud, to another human being. So why do we tell them to ourselves? So I want you to think about what you're interested in doing and write down all the beliefs you have that support you in obtaining your desired career or life. And it could include your education. You're fine. Education from Boston University. It could be any of the experience you have. And experience doesn't need just to be paid experience. It could be volunteer. It could be educational experience. It could be something you do in your community, a kids soccer team that you coach. Could be any number of experiences, things you volunteer for, do on your own free time. We'll also include your interests and skills. So take a moment on your sheet here on the back, on the top of the back, it says list your supporting beliefs. What are the things that you believe about yourself that allow you to get to your desired career and or life? And for some of you, you might think, I can hear, I can sort of imagine you're thinking, well, I don't have anything that I'm really valuable, that's really supporting what I do. I don't have the right education, or I don't have the right skills or the right experience. I'm going to encourage you to think about just brainstorming 10 things. 10 things, right? Can you hold a job? Do you have a degree? What are your interests? What do you like to do in your free time? All of those things count. Take a minute and wrap that up. And I'm going to move on while you're doing that to talking about limiting beliefs, because these are the things that hold us back. So think about now all the things that you have that don't empower you or that limit you in obtaining your desired career or life, right? And I might have just mentioned maybe a flip side of that same list, right? I have an education, but it's not the right education. So jot those things down. I'm too old, I'm too young. I live in the wrong part of the world, the wrong part of the country. I don't have a car to drive me to work. I don't want to spend time commuting. Whatever they are, right? Just jot all of them down. And then I'd like you to circle the top one or two, and those might have been the first ones, right? The sort of those red flags that come up right away, like, I can't do that, that's crazy. My parents will think I'm nuts for, you know, throwing away my nice degree, my good college education. And then write down a replacement belief for the ones you've circled. So instead of saying, I don't have the right education, I do have a degree, and this is how it might be related. Now, some of you might say, all right, well, I have a degree in chemical engineering and I want to work in, you know, medicine. I don't know, maybe those are related. Maybe they're more related than you think. So the goal here is to take all of those negative pieces and turn them into positives, because you have lots of great gifts to share with people, and those limiting beliefs are the ones that are holding you back. Napoleon Hill, another great, he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, a great little read. I think it's from the 1940s. It's really old, but it's a really small, quick read. What the mind can conceive, it can achieve. So the more you learn about manifesting and how it works, you can't really have an idea if there isn't already a path in place for you to get there. It's pretty powerful, right? So what the mind can conceive, if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. And I tell my clients this all the time. If there's something you want to do, you can figure it out. Absolutely, without question. I love this slide because this shows the likelihood of completing a goal, right? So now you're here. We've talked about some ways that you can start to move forward, and heard some things today, and your likelihood of moving or starting anything is about 10% right now. And deciding when you'll do it increases your likelihood to 40%. So if you can start to think about, okay, well, I can't do it today, but I'm going to do it by Friday. I know it's tomorrow, or over the weekend, right? Then you start to have a better likelihood of getting that done. If you plan how to do it, increases your likelihood just a little bit more to 50%. If you commit it to somebody else, friend, neighbor, coworker, your dog, it goes up to 65%. And finally, if you schedule a specific appointment, if you actually take your phone or your, you know, whatever pad of paper, whatever your calendar system is, and actually write it in there, it's much more likely, it's much more public. So I invite you to think about where you are on the likelihood of starting to move this process forward. Sure, you've spent, you know, an hour here this afternoon thinking about what it is that you want to do, and it's easy to sort of get off this and go back to your life. But I encourage you, now that you've spent all this time invested already, what else can you do to help make sure this starts to move? These statistics are from the American Society of Training and Development. You've probably seen them other places too. So I encourage you to be accountable. Write it down. Post it somewhere that's visible, right? Could be a series of sticky notes, right, that you've got all over your refrigerator, your bathroom mirror. Share it with a friend, sister, brother, cousin, mother, father, neighbor, colleague. It doesn't matter who it is. Just share it. Say it out loud. Makes it more real. Mark it on your calendar. Set a reward or incentive for achieving it. Maybe it's getting a new, a good cup of coffee or a new pair of shoes or whatever. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Maybe it's an extra piece of chocolate. It can be something simple, but give yourself some reward for getting there. Or hire a coach. We'll talk more about that in a second too. Right now, I guess we'll talk about it. So as a BU alum, I invite you to, for a special 30-minute complimentary session with me to help you think about what's keeping you stuck here. Why are you not moving forward? Where can you help get into alignment, better alignment with where it is that you want to be? And I'll help you identify at least one step, if you haven't collected a bunch already, that you can easily take to start building that momentum and move forward. So in order to do that, oh, did I not put it on here? I'll give you a link to it afterwards. I don't think it's on here. But it's, I'll say it out loud. It's kbcareercoach.com/kickstart, all one word, KICKSTART. And I'll make sure that's in the follow-up email too, Jeff. In the interim, I also invite you to download a free gift for today, a career happiness tip sheet. I used this actually for the webinar last year. I've updated it a little bit to include some new pieces, but you know, if you're thinking that you're not happy about your job, there are 5 tips here that you can start to move a little bit further there. And in conclusion, it's really important to be clear about what you want and why you want it. Why is this important to you? If you want something, but it's not really important, then you get it, you're probably not going to start moving. Let go of the expectations of others. This is your life. You're here with your purpose, your gifts to be able to share with the world. Not your parents, not your classmates, not your other alumni. It's easy to kind of look around the room and see what other people are doing. This is all about you. Be mindful about what's working or not in your current situation. So we talked about those 8 key areas of life at the beginning of the presentation today. Start to think about what's not working here. Well, maybe it's my job, but maybe it's my relationship. Maybe it's where I live. Maybe I need to move someplace sunnier now that it's getting cold in Boston. Right? Lots of different ways to think about that. One of the key pieces about moving forward is imagining how you'll feel when you're working in a career that you love and how that impacts the rest of your life. So imagining that same feeling that we had before, that anticipation, that passion, the exhilaration, all of those things. Imagine how incredibly amazing it would be if you got up every day and went to the job of your dreams, not somebody else's dreams, right? So release those other attachments and start moving forward. Start moving, right? On the bottom of your sheet, the last section here, some things you can do today to start moving toward a job in alignment with who you're meant to be. So maybe setting up that 30-minute consultation with me. It may be having a conversation with some of your friends or family. It may be writing a future letter. Maybe you go back and listen to the visualization. Start moving, right? Remember that GPS piece. If you're not moving, you're not going to go anywhere. So even if you're moving in the wrong direction or what seems to be the wrong direction, you never know. And with that, I would like to thank you all for being part of this presentation today and being present and following along with some of the exercises. And I would love to open it up for any questions. While I do that, I'm just going to share my contact information here. So I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, on my web. I have a new video I just posted a couple weeks ago. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be happy to help you start moving your journey forward.
Well, Kim, this was awesome. You've done so much for BU already, and the fact that you're willing to make yourself available to everybody for a 30-minute consultation is just incredible. I have a feeling a lot of the questions that we might normally get now in the webinar, you're going to get in those individual calls, but that's incredible. And I want to reiterate to folks that Kim has done so much for BU, and that's quite an opportunity to, one of the things that Kim's talking about is just moving forward, and what a great way to move forward with an expert who can help you talk about your unique situation. One question's come in already, but I want to break the ice with my own. Kim, I appreciate so much that a lot of the sort of model that you've presented today revolves around positive psychology and positive thinking. And I don't mean to reinforce some limiting thoughts and limiting behaviors, but I'm curious, you do this as a professional, helping people get unstuck. What are those limiting beliefs that you think are the most difficult for people to get beyond? Where is it that in terms of just trying to get started and moving forward, that people often aren't able to do that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, right? A lot of it is I don't know what I want to do, so I can't even start to move forward, right? I know I don't want to do what I'm doing now, but I have no idea where to go forward. So that's a paralyzing piece, right? Whether you know that you have one option or a million options, and I said that in the visualization, right? A million options, people, I don't even know how to pick one or two, right? I don't even know how to decide what to have for lunch today. So that tends to be paralyzing. We're often afraid, right? Things are maybe not great where they are, but they could be a whole lot worse, right? And at least maybe now I'm getting paid well, or my commute's not so bad. So people start to panic around that fear. And if you go back, and I can reference that Netflix special by Brene Brown, you can find lots of her content online too. She spent her whole career talking about vulnerability and lack of courage and shame and all the things that we don't talk about, right? So to be able to step up the plate and really own who you are, scary, but this is why you're here, right? And you figure that out. Choices, fear, Probably the two pieces that are limiting people. And then you get caught in the details, right? I don't have the right degree, live in the right place, country. I need to do my schedule for my family. My parents have this expectation. There's lots of ways to think of. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Absolutely. And of course, all I had to do was break the ice, and now we're flooded with really good
Yeah.
questions that
Okay,
we'll
great.
definitely maybe try to. I've got at least 4 good ones here that oh boy, there's tons.
Ah,
So long story short, Kim, let's try to do the speed round so we can get through as many as we can. And then again, folks, a
okay.
lot of you asking questions. I could see you having this phone call with Kim when she's able to schedule.
Yeah.
First one, what are your thoughts on a full-fledged career change? When would it require more than just finding a new position or role, but would require additional schooling vastly different from what your background is in? Are there
Yeah.
feasible steps you can suggest to take to get to that?
Yeah. Go for it. Right. If you're in the wrong job, then they say statistically, I think you change jobs something like, or change careers rather, 6 times in your life. So we'll move all kinds of different careers, right? From corporate to education and back, or engineering to something else. So if there's something you're really passionate about, my guess is you probably have some transferable skills that can help you move into that area. Start to just have those conversations. Big fan of information reviewing and talking to people to get more information about where you want to go to help gain that clarity so that you know you're moving in the right direction. Sometimes it's as easy as having a conversation with somebody. So yeah, full-fledged career change, go for it.
A great question from Justin. What are some strategies for differentiating what I like versus what I'm good at? So how does he move from the external to more of a true introspective view on that question?
Yeah, at a simple level, I have an assessment that does this. It breaks it really easily, but at a really simple level, pull out the paper and start writing all the things you're good at. And if you can't think of enough, ask your friends, family, coworkers to start thinking of that list, right? And then go through the list again and say, well, what do I really do? What are the things here that I enjoy doing? And you could maybe cross some of them off, right? I can say I'm really laundry, but I don't want to do it. I'm going to take that briefly off my list. So you might have some other things. Don't discount the things that that come easy to you, because those are often valuable to other people. And if you find something to do that's really easy for you, you don't not enjoy doing, then that's maybe a good foundation for you to think about switching careers to.
Related question, and then once you have a good handle on what you're good at and what you're passionate about, how do you communicate that? How do you help other people to see those things that you're good at and are like to do? That could be a whole
Yeah,
other webinar, I know.
it could be, yeah. I guess my short answer would be, start talking about that. Make sure your resume. Oftentimes, I get a resume from a particular client, and at the very bottom, in 8-point font, says something they're really passionate about, but they don't talk about it for the rest of their resume. So sometimes it's just reforming your resume or adding your LinkedIn profile. I'm just trying to get some experience. Maybe it's a volunteer opportunity that you could participate in. So there's lots of ways that you can think about showcasing that, but get out and talk to people. I have a client who says you can never talk to too many people. I'm kind of in agreement with that. You never know what you're going to learn or how that's going to your conversation to something else.
A good question from Rachel. I thought that we might get something around these. How would you suggest managing moving forward towards your dream job while managing the realities of the present? So in Rachel's situation, she'd love to write as a career, but really hard to get into while having, student loans and already working a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. So I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but writing is one of those things that you can do anytime, anywhere, right? So whether you're working a full-time job, need to work a full-time job and have loans, are there some, and actually this is a different career, this is another webinar content topic around portfolio careers, but is there a way that you can start to do some writing on the side and start to showcase that so that while you're working your full-time job, is there what you can do there? But is there writing you can do on the side? Can you freelance and start to do some things around your other responsibility? Might help chip away your student loan a little bit faster. I don't recommend always, we talked about career change, and I'm a big supporter of that, but I always recommend to give your notice, after this call, and expecting to have a job on Monday. So often there's a transition and a lead time and some transition between where you are and where you be. It's not like a magic wand, like we're going to just do this, over the weekend.
So another question here from a viewer whose name I can't quite figure out, but again, I think this might be for a 30-minute call with Kim. I'm someone that has been doing something they love and I'm passionate about, but I'm now hitting roadblocks in that job and career the later in the career he or she goes. How do you change this plan of attack that you just reviewed for somebody who's, they're passionate about it, but it doesn't seem to be paying off, and you sort of hit a wall in moving forward?
Yeah, so the hitting the wall because you're not doing what you want to be more, right? So I talked about clarity in that vision, but maybe your vision has changed. So if you've been doing the same thing for 10 years or more, maybe that was the right decision or the right thing, 10 years ago, but maybe now your goals have changed. And there a way that you can some of those skills and experiences and transfer them to something else that's a little more exciting, right? I started a job as human resources in a corporate environment. I transitioned to working in higher ed, and now I work on my own. Now I teach yoga, right? So there's a whole bunch of different transitions, but if I look at there's a thread in them all. I wouldn't want to go back to corporate America for me personally, but I learned lots of things there that I've been able to redirect sales and go different places. So that's helpful. What's really ideal and what part of what you're doing now are you most passionate about that you want to hold on to? And what are the pieces that you feel like you're stuck against the wall? Is it money? Is it experience? Is it opportunity? There's a whole bunch of things to think about there.
How can you get the validation that you need when you start doing something different? Tips on how to gain the confidence to continue to move along once you've gotten started.
Yeah, here's sort of the magical piece. And, as you start moving and start talking to people, you are going to start to build that confidence as people give you feedback like, wow, Kim, you're doing a great job with that. Keep up the good work. Have you ever considered doing this or that? Or maybe here's somebody else for you to talk to. So I find the more momentum you have, the greater your confidence is. It's going back to talking to as many people as you can and getting that validation. Think about what kinds of things you like to do in your free time. Are those the things that you're, can you be paid for those things? Now, there are some things that you would never want to do, right? I have a cousin who plays the piano. She's never going to be a concert pianist, but it's a relaxation piece for her. But are there things that you like to do in your free time or that you find yourself volunteering that you might be able to wrap into something else? So, so keep talking to people as you gain momentum and start talking to more people and getting more experience. Your confidence is going to go. I can't guarantee it, but very likely it's going to start increasing pretty quickly.
What about feeling super burned out about work in general? I'm having a hard time envisioning my ideal job, in part because I feel sort of overwhelmed and stuck in the spot I'm at. Is it bad to quit without another job lined up, or better to get a new job but take a break before starting it? Probably no right or wrong answer here, but what's your take on that question?
Yeah, I have lots of clients that come to me that leave their job for whatever reason and sometimes just need a break. Sometimes that means that they work in a retail job for a little bit if they can afford to do that. Sometimes it means, if you're in a job that you're burnt out, and burnt out could be a bunch of things, right? You're working too many hours, you're not doing kind of work. But if you've got any bandwidth there, if it's a kind of job that you're not really excited about, but it's not taking a ton of your energy, or you've got some energy that you can use to move forward, I don't encourage people to move to another job just for the sake of moving to another job, because you're quickly going to find out that it's probably not the right job either, and you're going to have a different type of overwhelm and stuff. But if you can move in a way that, so if you hang out where you are and then think what you can add on. So maybe it's a classmate, maybe a volunteer opportunity, maybe, and this isn't possible but it may be possible for some people. Can you reduce your work hours from 5 days to 4 days? Maybe it's a short work day. I have some clients that have done that. Sometimes it's for, work-life balance issues or intention issues. Sometimes because they just need more time to. I have another client literally just hours off so she can build her business. And I talked to her yesterday, and she said that they said that her employer said it wasn't working out, so she's going to lose her job altogether. Well, guess what? She's super motivated to now, kick it up into another notch. So it depends on your, level for risk, your tolerance for risk, and really what you're transitioning from into. Lots of variables there.
Grace, a good question. I feel like we've talked about a little bit, and because we're running up against the hour, I'm going to ask you to maybe follow up directly with Kim about that. But Kim, thank you. This was fantastic. We're ending, I think, on a perfect note here. I said it, you've done so much for the BU community, and I can't thank you enough for all the time that you've given and will continue to give. Not to ruin anything, but spoiler alert for those of you in the Boston area, Kim is already talking about doing something with us in person in March. That would be really, really fun. So keep your eyes open for that. But again, Kim, for everything that you've done for BU, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
My thanks also go out to all of our guests for participating today, and I especially want to thank those of you that have supported BU financially in the past with your donations. We have some great webinars coming up over the next few months. Our next one is going to be on December 10th. We're offering a really neat session called The Thought Leader Formula, Strategically Leveraging Your Expertise. So how do you position yourself in your office or in any team of being the thought leader? I encourage you all to visit our website for the full schedule of events that you can sign up for as an alum at bu.edu/alumni/events. While I have you, I also want to do a pitch for our relatively new, that's not new anymore, our alumni podcast. It's called Proud to Be You, and we've just launched season 2. The whole point is that we interview interesting alumni who've had successful careers, who have really neat jobs, who reflect on their BU experience and share advice that they've learned along the way. You can download that wherever you might access a podcast. And as always, if you or any BU alum that you know would be interested in doing a webinar like this, just as Kim's been doing for us, I'll ask that you please contact me at the BU Alumni Office or by email at jtmurphy@bu.edu. I think by now, hopefully you all have my email address. But thanks everybody for your time. I hope you all have a great day or a great evening wherever you might be. And thanks again, Kim.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye.